you can't cut through, like I don't keep count on you. I am a volcano, fire and flood. I am a volcano, boiling blood.
Dude, this is great.
Thanks.
That was way up there.
Oh yeah, I got the high notes these days.
What you sow. Oh man, come on. This sounds like something straight off of Velvet Revolver album.
Well, thank you. Except I don't think Scott did the really high notes. That's the thing I'm trying to differentiate. Like go into that range. It's like the Miles Kennedy area.
Yes. Dude, the vocal fry is incredible.
Yeah. That's what happens when you sing in over the course of multiple days.
Did I call that right? Vocal fry? Like
yes.
Going into a scream?
It's where the heat, the trick is putting the heat on top of the note so you don't char your vocal cords. It's in your mouth, not in your throat. It's weird.
Did you produce this?
Yeah.
And mix and master?
Yeah, well, there's an AI mastering tool I started using recently to kind of help me shape them, and so good that I'm just like throwing it on like syrup on all my stuff, and it unifies the recording really well.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Are those programming drums?
It's a Superior Drummer.
Yeah, that's a good plug-in for that. Bro. You got a shit ton of power in your voice.
Thank you. It's relatively new because I've been on a journey. It's a long story. All right, we're about to start.
Oh, nice stutter right there.
Nice. Hit the like, everybody. Share the show. We'll be up in just a second. A little bit of filter there, I think, on the guitar. You know, the band.
I wish I was listening on better. These headphones aren't doing it justice.
Well, June.
Okay.
All right. We're up on Instagram. Substack's all right. All right. Here's the note. That's it.
Brother. No wonder you're a sniper fan, dude.
Totally. That's right. We talked about that. We talked about that last time. Doc Adam joining us right out of the gate. How are you, sir? Welcome. Yeah, we talked about what big Striper fans.
I don't care. Just play your album. I don't care about talking about stuff.
We're getting there, man. We're so getting there. I can't wait for this dipshittery to be over so that we can all go back to just like the life we had making normal stuff. Yes. God damn. Like it's so weird. And you've been keeping track of, of Captain Brainfart more than anybody else. Mm-hmm. And I recently saw your I don't know if it was a mea culpa or whatever, where you're basically like, all right, I was wrong. My timetable was wrong. Actually, it was way more right than it was. Like, it's all they're doing is dragging out the inevitable. And you'll recall, that I think it was like you gave him 3 to 5 months, and I think you're right under normal circumstances, certainly. But with Walter Reed and God knows what else, and them jacking him full of shit, I was like, I give it 9. I think they can pad it about 4 months over the average human being, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So,
can you still
your
hear
camera
me?
Froze. Yeah, I can hear you, but your camera froze. I don't know what that's about.
Freeze.
Yeah, it's okay.
Should I back out and rejoin?
Let's give that a try just to check and make sure, so I don't have we don't have to wonder if it's gonna and hope.
Oh,
There we go.
there we go.
Oh, there you go. You're back. Look at that.
Refresh.
It's just a. There's a lot of gremlins today. I think it's they come out in force around this. Doc Adam, epistemic crisis on the YouTubes and whatnot. Dealing with people in Donald Trump's current state of mental flagellation, or as he would call it, transmutilization of his brain, right?
The weave.
Yes, East Coast, right. Which is, I think, what you're calling whatever that fucking mess is on the top of his head these days. Because it was weird for a bit, and then there's just patches of empty in it that if they don't bother to do anything about it, he looked like he'd been in a pillow fight right before he came out, and it had just mussed up, and there was just a big gap right here that they just were like, man, does anybody really care?
Yeah, they look like he pins portions of it down with safety pins or toothpicks that are the same color as his hair.
Right. The old remember at one point they had toupees and they would install snaps on your head. That was the surgery that they were doing at one point, so that it wouldn't it's not like it wouldn't come off. It would just come off like you're playing parachute at summer camp. Like it would stay, but parts of it would lift.
Like a soft top Jeep, It's
yeah, exactly.
Normal thing to have happen to your head.
Yeah. If it was unlatched from the front windshield, and you got caught in a rainstorm going downhill and high wind. But so he apparently called. We've been talking about his disinhibition, his dehibition from the rest of the human race lately, and he apparently, like right today, just a few minutes ago, he was doing this odd thing. I mean, he's always doing an odd thing, but he was outside the, talking about the reflecting pool or some shit like that. Like he's hyper fixated. Like he's going back to his good old days. It's like a glory days reflex where he wants to talk about property and shit that he's like fixtures. Because he didn't really build any goddamn thing. He didn't. No. Like all the buildings were his dad's designs or architectural firms they hired. He didn't do anything with it. He just walked around, picked carpets, and said, slather everything in gold and the best of the best, and it's the best ever best thing or whatever. A reporter asked him, like, why would you be out here talking about the reflecting pool when you got a ceasefire that's failing in Iran? And he apparently called her a bitch as he was walking away.
Rachel Scott, I believe is her name.
He was. See if you can get her. This is the.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. This way. Thank you, press.
Yeah, that's right. She's a bitch. Like that's what he just points at her. Like because he's surrounded by workers and he thinks he went from zero to locker room talk. I guess in that moment,
brother, he's that close. He's just the disinhibition, what you're talking about. That behavior, yes, but now he's just going to start doing it.
Yes.
Even when the cameras are rolling. It's I saw footage recently of when he insulted John McCain at some conservative symposium years ago. And of course, the room's response at that moment, they were still faking their morality. And they, the room goes, oh my God, whoa. And he just pushes right through. He's like, I don't know. I just like people who didn't get captured. I think that's what a hero is. that was a glimpse into disinhibition, but now he's going to lose his ability completely. There's nothing left in the tank of inhibition.
Right. And I think morally, he doesn't have much room to go anyways, because I think to your point is like when you get to this situation, you become more of who you are. Mm-hmm. You all the guardrails come off and you see who the person really is at their core. Right. And in that situation, this is all that statement is also why he thinks he's a hero for dodging the draft like a rich boy. He really does. Like he was like a hero is somebody who wasn't captured, and a superhero is a guy who never got suckered into going, because that's for suckers and losers.
That's right.
Listen,
he believes military service would be beneath him anyway.
Right.
He doesn't. Nothing is Mary Trump. Is that his sister or his niece?
It's his niece.
Yeah, she said there's nothing exists outside of Donald. That's how he views the world. He just believes that all those things are beneath him, even though he went to a military school, like a boys' military school.
officer tee up for people who want to avoid service entirely. So you can do basic and ROTC in school, so you don't actually have to go through it, and you go right into like, if you're gonna do that route, or you can steal valor. Not everybody who goes there does those kind of things, but that's the rich boy pathway around military service. Like, go put them right in the officer's corps and leave them here at home in case any other shit breaks out. He talks about a woman who's got a Marine captain who died, and I'll show you this. Like,
I saw this.
how he, oh fuck me. So this is him talking about her son.
Thank you, Janice. Hi, you look great. That's a beautiful hat. Thank you, Janice. Who lost her son, Marine Captain Jesse Melton. And I heard he was an outstanding. They give me lists and they tell me about people. They said that Jesse was outstanding, Janice. They have the word outstanding.
God damn. Like, it's just written there like
you
Q
could
words.
pretend to give a shit. You could at least pretend to give a shit.
Right.
But he doesn't.
I don't know that he can. We went through this shit with COVID, and they're like, if only Trump had done this, he might have blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he'd have to be a whole different person. He can't do it.
Guy. You guys are expecting him to experience empathy for the first time.
There are no options with a person like this.
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No, and that's what all the mental health professionals were sounding the alarm about way back in 2015. Dr. John Gardner.
So working to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He's a malignant narcissist. He has the same neurotype as Adolf Hitler. And they literally created the malignant narcissist personality profile only to describe Hitler. And it's not in the DSM-5, but all these mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists were like, it doesn't matter if you politically agree with him or not. You cannot elect him because he will, as we see now, do everything he has done. He will attack other nations, bomb children's schools arbitrarily. There will be no rhyme or reason. That's why he, what's stopping you from, doing X, Y, and Z? Well, my own morality. Holy shit, brother.
Right.
That's bad. And
I'll feel it in my bones when the war is over.
John Gardner said in his most recent interview, he said, we're in a hell of a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, if he's saying it, it's real. So let me, okay. He was, and this is to kind of do your point too, he was just recently corrected directly by people around him. I think Susie Wiles and other people about the whole prices coming down 700% or, all that kind of shit. And they were like, look, they're 700% more expensive than what we pay, but when they come down 80%, and they're not even going to do that. And so it's just nonsense. So you sound stupid. Stop doing that. All you got to do is say we're cutting at 80%, and that's a lot. People get it. You don't have to make up a fucking number. So they definitely sat him down because he was fixing it for like 2 days. Like for 2 days, he was saying the right math, sort of. He was elbowing it a little, but you could tell he was like, it was written on the paper, and so he was like, all right, fuck it. Down 80, 90%. I got shit, right? And then
I loved how RFK Jr. backed him up on that. When they pressed him on that, RFK Jr. backed him up, knowing full well it was complete bullshit. But yeah, you're right. That's the only way he changes any of his messaging. See, what happens is they hand him a sheet of fun facts, and they're all positive. And even the Economic Advisory Council, they hand him a bulleted list of stuff that's like, it's fairy tale bullshit. But he parrots it because it sounds good. He's like, all right, that's the truth. That's what I want to hear. So that's the truth.
And if it isn't, we'll make it the truth. The truth is whatever I can convince you of. It's as Jim Jones as you get. So this is him today at that, Gold Star moms and military moms gathering for Mother's Day, so he can hide behind the hems of service people and use their valor as a shield, which is fucking gross. Again, like anybody who's like, who would say suckers and losers? The same person who would say, I like heroes who weren't captured. That exact same person. What in the world? So, all right, this is him about drug prices.
Working to make it easier than ever before to start a family by lowering the price of IVF, cutting regulatory battles and barriers, and fighting to bring down
Cutting battles and barriers because he misread it and he just whatever,
Yeah.
But and also slobbering like fucking crazy today. Like that swallowing thing you were talking about is really bad. Listen to this.
before to start a family by lowering the price of IVF, cutting regulatory battles and barriers, and fighting to bring down the cost of living so that more Americans can pursue the dream of, and it's a dream of living just a good life, maybe a great life. We cut drug prices now with the.
He just abandons the fucking statement because
that's exactly right. So you learn to recognize when he jumps off script. He starts ad-libbing whenever he has trouble with words. He's that's not on script. I don't know if that's like what did he jump to there? Living a good life, and we cut prescription drug. That has nothing to do with what you're reading on the page.
Yeah, he mentioned the IVF treatments, and I think that's where his brain latched to drugs as if they're the same thing. Because an IVF treatment is not a prescription drug situation. There are drugs involved in these things, but the first lady that came forward as using Trump RX, but they put it out as being supportive of IVF, which is again. The generic form is available on GoodRx. It's the same price on GoodRx. Her insurance probably fucking covers it. She bought it there because she's a maggot and she wanted to buy it there, not because it was better for her or it helped. It's just stupid. Yeah. So this is, here you go. This is the
favored nations, most favored nations. We cut them by 70, 80, 90%. You could say 500%, 600, depending on the way you phrase the statement.
No, you actually can't. No, the phrasing doesn't change the math, dum-dum.
No.
That's not how it works.
I need to point out that whenever he has his speech on the podium and his head is tilted down, that saliva hangs out. And all of his swallowing is aggressive because he can't effectively clear it out of his mouth. But I'm wondering how much how much of Trump does Susie Wiles have to put up with to gain enough, administrative capital to correct him? Like, how often can she actually say, no, what you said was wrong. What you should say is this. And I wonder how long she has to wait again before she can say something directive. Because otherwise,
3.5 weeks.
Like, well, yeah, I think we're going. I think we're going to find out that how many states he actually did win. Fucking Susie Wiles said that the other day. I'm like, Susie, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You've been working in politics for 107 years. Yeah. Everybody that knows you personally knows that that's bullshit, and they know that you're lying. You just are a big enough piece of shit to go along with this foolishness. But
because of the end benefit outweighs whatever damage she thinks it's going to do to just play along with this horse shit, because she can't stop this train. It's rolling down the fucking tracks. So at a certain point, she's like, I mean, I could jump ship and contradict him, but he's insane. So So this is particularly, he does this other thing when he's talking about I got to turn the audio on in this one. This is he means to say cartels, and he says cartools. So we'll start there about he's going to stop all the drugs from coming in from the aqua drugs, not the ones he's using.
Nobody else.
Those are
And nobody else. The cartools, they just rule it. And we lose 200,000
the cartools
people a year through.
We lose 200,000 people a year. No, we do not.
What does he mean? Because of gun violence or drug-related violence or overdoses?
He means fentanyl.
What do you mean?
Pours into our country.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So we have the sea done, meaning the ocean,
old title on
waterways, pretty much done 97%, and we're going to have the land done very soon. And nobody else. The cartools, they just rule it. And, we lose 200,000 people a year through this poison that pours into our country. So we have the sea done, meaning the ocean, waterways, Pretty much done. 97%.
The sea, the oceans, the waterways, pretty much done. Yeah, we're stopping all the fentanyl that's going up the fucking Mississippi in a canoe.
Sure.
All the
that's how that
fentanyl that's
happened.
coming in via rain. We've
So
totally
I love-
stopped that.
Yeah, he's talking about like the sea. We got the sea done as if they are also resurfacing the bottom of the ocean with blue paint, like they're doing
Yes, right.
the pool in front of the Washington Monument.
Yeah, we're cleaning that up.
reflection
That'll be done any day now. We're on budget and
Sure.
under schedule. Right.
Sure.
So stupid. Okay. So this is a daytime thing. Most of the time we see him having this difficulty reading, being this slobbery is later in the day. This is it. Fucking, you can tell by that the sun on whatever passes for hair on the top of his head. It's noon. He is outside on a bright spring day. It is midday. There is there's no guessing about what this is. Not sundowning. This is just his brain falling apart. Anyways, now I have made the case a couple of times, and I think it's clear at this point that on the one hand, it's really terrible if an old man isn't getting enough sleep. He's not going to be making good decisions. It's bad that anybody like that, and he's definitely waking up at odd hours and truth sinkholing bullshit out into the world. Mm-hmm. But I also think there's an apparatus in the White House that is covering for the fact that he probably needs like 11 to 12 hours of sleep to function at all. And so he maybe used to stay up at these hours like for a stretch, but he's in bed for half the day. He's in bed for 12 hours at this point. Yeah. No question whatsoever. And so I think what they do is, and they've done it before, but they're doing it a lot more now, which is which is they're making up a like fake tweets, like there are truths. They're putting these things out and they're saying, I had Rob Glenn on your earlier one. Sorry, because we were in the morning show. Sorry. I was there we go. Fixed it. All right. So I know they're patching it up for him. They're doing stuff in the middle of the night. They're they're planning these messages to come out. Dan Scavino, whoever's in charge, the 5 people, the what's her name, the girl the human printer that follows him around, all that shit.
Natalie Harp.
Natalie Harp, right? Yeah. They're clearly filling in the blanks for him. So it looks like to our enemies and the rest of the world, oh my God, the man never sleeps. Which to any sane person is, he what? That's terrible.
Yeah.
Old people should get some fucking sleep.
Yes.
If they're going to make good decisions. Like sleep deprivation is one of the war crimes we committed at Abu Ghraib, you dumb motherfuckers. So why would we do that to our president? Take a nap, you psycho.
Yeah. They've taken that talking point to its extreme because it's a great way to cover up for sundowning and dementia. Even when, they had, I'm a humongous baseball fan, obviously, with the Braves poster in the back. But Noah Syndergaard shows up randomly at the White House, and they've handed him talking points to say, oh man, his energy is incredible. I'm like, Noah, brother, you're such an idiot.
Right.
He's 80 years old. You used to throw baseballs 103 miles an hour, my man. It's so insane. They had Robert F. Kennedy talk about his energy, talk about how he, flipped over a piece of paper and just started drawing the Middle East and all their troop strength. I'm like, this is the biggest load of bullshit. He has no idea.
That is an absolute flat out lie. And the only way it's remotely close to true is that RFK Jr. knows less about the Middle East than Trump does because he bought it. You know what I mean? Like Trump probably fucking like him and his Sharpie hurricanes just draws. And it was probably like, it's a map. The other piece of the side of the paper was an actual map of the Middle East. And he just drew a line and there's a lot of people here, not many people here. It's like, wow, the guy's got this shit figured out. Like, It's brutal. Jesus. I don't, and it, like they, and Marco Rubio is like, like kind of like Besant is like the sanity coaster for this, like so they don't stain the table. They set down whatever dumbass talking point Trump has on his head, and then he keeps it from leaving a stain. And he comes out, does this whole thing about Project Freedom and how it's going to be awesome, and then they just yank it right out from under him later that day. It lasted a whole 16 hours, 8 with the time change. I don't even know that it that it was a thing. Right?
No, nobody can tell. Only the people in the inner circle can really tell if it's such a circus without a tent between what's actually happening in the world, what the administration is doing and saying, and what the information they actually feed to the president. Because outside they have they have an embargo on the information that actually makes it to the president. It's not that he's like on the internet, learning about world events. He doesn't give a shit.
No.
He's only on social media to propagate his own interest, his own persona, his own propaganda.
And he takes pride in winging it. Idiots have to study. I was born knowing this. My uncle taught at MIT. I've got genetic knowledge, like he's a fucking insect that's been passed on a mating cycle.
Yeah, he doesn't. He has no idea. There's never a risk. Like he has these blow up moments where he's really pissed off about his polling numbers, and I'm like, he just found out. That's news to him. Like how did? And then I'm thinking, okay, well, how the hell is he finding out? Is somebody actually being honest with him?
I think a reporter asked him to do that. I think a reporter, like before the thing came up and went, your polls aren't very good right now, blah, blah. He's like, fuck you. Anyways, who am I talking to or whatever? And then you know what I mean? And then he starts bitching at the next reporter who he starts answering a question about. Like there's these people who are saying my polls are great, and it's because he heard in the mix, like, I'll look over at the chat room sometimes, and it's amazing. I'm sure you run into this. Anybody who live streams it, it's amazing how your eyes will fall on the one where you're like, "You suck." Yeah. Like your eyes just will. Right? Granted, that mostly happens when I'm teary-eyed and being emotional, and everybody in my chat room is trying to help me by booing me, which I ask them to do. So, because if you're nice to me while I'm upset or crying, it will get worse. That's just how I am.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like when my dad passed, or
is literally, I named my newborn son Hal.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't help. You're like, I don't care.
No, you're not helping me. I'm trying to hold it together. So, anyways, but everybody has that, that reflex or whatever. Like, why do you notice the negative or whatever? Well, he's no different in that regard, and he's more fucking delicate about it than anybody else, right?
Yes. What I learned recently about malignant narcissists, I learned this from Dr. Stephen Hassan's podcast. He had another psychiatric expert on. They pointed out that malignant narcissists never actually grieve their losses. So whenever they do experience failure or defeat or a loss, they never actually enter into any of the stages of grief. They just exist in the anger of losing, which is part of the reason he will keep perseverating on the 2020 election.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Downstream, Susie Wiles at this point even, and also the 4 nominees who were, in a congressional hearing when the one senator was like, can any of you pieces of shit acknowledge that Donald Trump cannot run for a 3rd fucking term? I'm adding the profanity, of course.
Sure.
And none of
Please
four lifetime appointment U.S. attorney or judges, federal judges, none of the 4 would say that Trump could not run for a 3rd term. It was the most batshit stuff, but it flows from him. But he has oatmeal for brains, so it's kind of a problem, Hal.
Well, I will only push back on that a little in that oatmeal is relatively healthy. So,
wait, are we talking steel cut or instant?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Any form is better than whatever the fuck's going on between his ears. Clearly.
That was the best. That was the best, actually.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry I don't have my nerd glasses on so I can push them up on my nose. Actually, so they have there are a couple of things, but let's get to the obvious thing in your wheelhouse a lot too, and that's this. And I apologize ahead of time for everybody who has to see this. It's not going to be fun. This is Trump's hands at this last thing he just did. Like this was day before yesterday. Look, both of them slathered with makeup, but look at that one. Look at this. This right here. Let me. That's right. I mean, the makeup's bad enough, but that's scabby. That's fucking awful,
dude. The veins are blowing out. He's 80 years old to begin with. His health is garbage. He is a known abuser of stimulants and also benzodiazepines. The stimulants cause vasoconstriction, which is when the blood vessels get smaller. Your arterial walls, all the arteries in your body, they have muscle content in the walls of those blood vessels so that they can expand and constrict when necessary. This is how your body actually diverts blood flow to different places based on especially your fight or flight response. If you happen upon a wild animal in the woods that is trying to harm you, your fight or flight engages, all of your blood flow gets diverted to your muscles and away from your digestive system. But your body accomplishes that through vasoconstriction, vasodilation. But taking, we know he has abused Adderall for decades. He does the same thing with benzos. The Adderall causes vasoconstriction. So all those small veins, those delicate veins in the back of that hand that they're using to set an IV, they blow out so much easier. And the technician or nurse that's, the phlebotomist probably that's trying to set that IV, they have to do what's called fishing because the veins want to move around. The tissue, the skin is so brittle. And then on the other hand, you have the benzos, which cause vasodilation. So all of his vasculature is seesawing back and forth between vasoconstriction and vasodilation. And so the thing's going to blow out anytime they have to, try to set a needle in that bad boy. And people keep asking online.
Made out of tissue paper.
Yes. People keep asking online in my comments, like, why are they doing it in his hand? It's like, that's visible. In the full suit, you could just do it in the cubital space or a central line, to put a PICC line in. If you got to do IV stuff that often, just do a PICC line. I think the truth is the rest of his vasculature is so weak that they don't want to risk it. Again, we're not talking about a man who is ideal health 80 years old.
Right.
He is. And he brags about being sober. I don't drink. I'm like, yeah, you do everything else, my man.
Right.
We know that you do. Everybody else in your administration is high. The reason you're good buds with Dr. Ronnie Jackson is because he was called the Candy Man. He was handing out Xanax and whatever else anybody wanted in the White House.
Oh, yeah. Modafinil and they were all in the modafinil and what's the what's the one Ambien? Yeah, the one that makes you fucking lose your mind if you use it and get off it too quickly. He was the big guy. He was in charge of the Ambien yo-yo. Modafinil or armodafinil, which is for sleep shift disorder, to wake up and go. And because God knows if they even know how to use it or when they're using it or what airplane fucking ride they're on when they take it, they have to get to sleep at some point. So they're gacking down a bunch of Ambien, which will make you fucking psycho. George H.W. Bush was famously on Haldol, and I only remember this because it sounds like a toy named after me. Like my buddy Chris used to say, it's got a string in its back, and if you pull it, it goes, I'm out Sparks and I'm mad. So, but this is so he's got paper mache veins. He's like, if you look at like his fixation on power, strength, and youth lately, especially, and his talking about I'm not going to go to heaven, and this weird fixation on mortality. He sounds like a Romanian vampire count who's looking for a body to switch into. This one looks healthy. Funny. Put my soul in him, Like when he was like, he wanted to fondle the UFC guy. It was like, and he's And it could
Yeah.
be that old man estrogen spike that, makes you gay adjacent when you're really old that some guys are afraid of, bitch tits in boys town kind of thing. But the idea that never, that all the weightlifters worried about, that they're like, they jacked their testosterone one way, that their body will react the other way, and it'll basically turn them into a postmenopausal woman in their later life. And they're all afraid they're going to
So-
start picking up pool boys. That's where
Yeah.
Trump is right now.
Yes. Another fun fact. Alex Rodriguez, the baseball player, when he was playing with the New York Yankees and he was using steroids, and he had been for several years at that point, his nickname in the Yankee clubhouse was Bitch Tits, because he started growing a little bit of boobage from the chronic steroid use, which I thought was hysterical. They hated him so much in that clubhouse.
Do you think one of the reasons why Trump doesn't have a port or it's not a fistula. Fistula is what occurs around the port, right? It like the bump, like when you get dialysis, they have
That's a fistula.
Yeah, the fistula that goes on there. So, and then my dad had one of those, and it had like a permanent bruise around it, like a big knot, and you could visibly see it. If you wore a short sleeve shirt, it would cover it, but there's a big bump there.
Right.
And there was a similar because Trump golfs and all that shit. Like you would notice if you gave him a port right here.
Yeah.
One of the things with Summer, she just finished chemo. Today was her last bout of it. She's got 3 weeks to her final treatment. So, God willing, we never have to go through that shit again. But the next 3 weeks are dealing with it. I'm trying to keep her relaxed and fed and watered, stay in bed. You're fine. But she ended up, they used her veins and, for all these different things, because they test your blood before you do it. They give you the chemo that way. They hydrate you. They're usually doing the hydration here, but the chemo drugs are here, which is exactly where Trump has stuff, which is another thing entirely. Right. But she didn't get a port. A lot of them will get a port if they've got to do it for, a lot more often or whatever those things, like, if you have to do it 12 or 15 times or something like that, they'll get a port, and you'll see it, through their shirt or whatever. It'll be, if your shirt exposes it. And it could be one of the reasons why they're doing it on his hands, because covering that with makeup, they can excuse with the bruising. He banged his hand, he handshakes, whatever the shit. He's just a vain dickhead, whatever, is way easier to cover than, holy fuck, he's got a port for chemo or something else. And then the speculation goes off the charts.
Right. He's already, he's got already has a well-documented history of vanity, pathological vanity, to the point that he wears a full face of makeup, which is always hysterical to me.
Sure.
So yes, it makes, I don't know, it's that explanation slides much more elegantly into his persona than it would a central line. If you got a central line in that son of a bitch, everybody knows. Everybody knows, like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's not that's not a hand bruise. It looks like you have a charging station.
Yes, it does. It looks like it looks like you plug in like a 12-volt adapter for a hard drive in there. It's like it's round, and it's it looks like you could take a plunger and push stuff in as opposed to a needle.
Right.
So,
and I should remind everybody about the rash on his neck. Looks a lot like precancerous lesions, skin cancer type stuff, which would make sense. He spent his share of time in the sun. And tons of people. I've got patients who they'll have had 20 or 30 different lesions taken off of their skin by the dermatologist. They get sent off to pathology to see if it was malignant or benign or whatever. But that's a common occurrence for people in this age group, because this was way before we knew what UV radiation actually did to the skin cancer awareness, all that fun stuff. He had that on his neck. It looked awful. And then Sean Barbarella he came out of his the toll booth on the bridge that he lives in. And he told everybody, it's just a topical cream he's going to use temporarily. And then, we'll probably do it for about 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah. And a couple other doctors chimed in and said, I don't know, man, that might be some precancerous shit going on.
Well, even if it's just a rash of that size out of nowhere, what was he exposed to that in a man with habits that never change? Like, think about this dude's diet. Think about this dude's clothing. Think about his environment. None of it changes. So if he got a rando rash out of nowhere, it's a warning sign of other shit. Like listen, okay, let me explain something. I'm very sensitive to detergents. I'm very sensitive. My skin is very sensitive.
I need to say something, and I need you guys not to laugh.
Yes. And during the filming of Queer as Folk, they used some detergent on the clothing I had to wear, and I got a rash anywhere there was a crease where I had to act it because it was like a pressed suit shirt that I had to wear, which I didn't wear very often on the show. Mm-hmm. So I wore it and we filmed in it all day, and then anywhere my arm compressed on the fabric made it worse. It's like it squeezed the poison out over my arm, whatever. And I had rashes on the insides of my elbows and like the undersides of my armpits. The back of my neck was fucked up, but it was clearly whatever. It wasn't like there's a phrase for it or whatever, but yeah, it was topical. It was directly related to that. And then it was over as soon as they started washing the stuff in different things, and I didn't have a problem again. Right? It was just it was literally whatever that was. And we never really found out the exact stuff because I think they just, quite frankly, I think they bought the stuff from because Michael doesn't have any new clothes, so I think everything was gotten from a Salvation Army, and but a nicer version of it. And they bought 3 of the same shirt, and that's what they were cleaned with at that place. And we just wore them and shot and went on our way. But the distinction was, I didn't have that problem before. We fixed that. I didn't have that problem again. But I was wearing different kinds of clothes and all kinds of shit all over the place. Trump doesn't. Like, it's always the same. Like, he doesn't change anything. So if he's getting a big rash on the back of his neck out of nowhere, it's got to be, it's something else. It is something else.
So if you can, it could be that he was taking a medication that caused an allergic reaction, and they went to an alternative med in the same family or same group because they saw that he was having a reaction to it. We commonly see that with cholesterol medications, the statins. If they start you on a atorvastatin, you have a reaction, they can move right over to simvastatin or ezetimibe, or there's other options. But if it's, again, I'm thinking of the IV ports. Let's get crazy and say he was doing chemo through an IV port on his hands, which is why they would be consistently used and consistently bruised. Let's say they ran an IV for a while that caused a rash on his skin, which is perfectly common with chemo drugs. Those drugs are strong as fuck. They're really it's a controlled form of poison, unfortunately, is what it is. But we can't rule it out. Again, the sky is the limit because they don't fucking tell the truth about anything.
Right. Yeah, right. Because it's a lie, like your brain just automatically has to they could, if it was just something like if the dude could admit weakness on a human level and had ever been able to, you'd go, and he went, we tried these new shirt things. Look at this on the back of my neck. We should worry about the American people. You deal with this all the time. We're going to look into these things because, I don't have to wait till it affects me. But damn, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. Right? No, anybody with half a fucking brain could do that, which again points to the fact that there will be no remedy because he cannot change who he is because he is operating on half a brain. It's the other half that we needed. But in this case, so here he is talking about how Iran, who he is not talking to, the Palestinians, the Pakistanis are trying to jumpstart the talks next week. They are talking to us and they are talking to the Iranians to try and get us talking to the Iranians again. They passed along whatever we passed along to the Iranians. The Iranians tore it up, sent back 14 points after we sent our 9. But they're not on the fucking phone every night. He's not talking to the Iranians. He might think when he talks to the Pakistanis, that's the same thing. This might be where he thinks things are going great because the Pakistanis don't hate us. So they're really nice on the phone, right?
Of course
So-
they are. And, anyways, they all look the same to Donald Trump anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's
What's
the other
difference
thing
between
too.
a Pakistani and an Iranian to Donald
And every
Trump?
accent sounds like, no, we no do that, Mr. President. Like, if you'll notice, like at certain point, that's how he thinks the Irish talk. So it's so fucking weird. This is according to him.
It's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon because as tough as they are, we want to keep them alive. We want to keep all of you alive. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that, among other things. Yeah.
Okay. No, they have not. Like, not in any measure. Every version that comes back of their version of the argument is simply no. It gets worse. Like, the IRGC has declared their nuclear stores sacred as the ground we walk upon. It is like they are speaking in terms of religious terms. Of course, they're not saying they've agreed to it. And it's so absurd that this is just, he thinks he can bullshit his way out the door. That's really what this seems to be. Yeah.
100%, man. I mean, well, his words dictate that, somebody's going to make $125 million in 10 minutes from insider trading, which is the biggest load. It's just, we don't have enough bandwidth to handle all the bullshit, Hal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As an individual person, I don't have, all I can focus on is how his medical status. I need the other people who, work at the think tanks in DC to start posting on social media. This guy's full of shit for economic reasons or whatever.
Right.
It's too much.
we got to categorize it. We're plate spinning bullshit right now. Like, this is an entire situation. It's just
some bullshit.
we're just can't.
See through it.
Yeah, this is
This is some bullshit.
so one of the things all right. In terms of like him making stuff up or just doing it, I think it's because he knows that it's this kind of Steve Bannon baffle him with bullshit thing, and that if his attention span is so short, everybody else's must be as well, right? They must be like, if I stopped caring about this, nobody else must still care about this, and if you bring it up, it's because you're a bitch and you work for ABC fake news, right?
Right.
How dare you bring up it was like Rick James in the Rick James sketch on Chappelle's show, where he's like you hit me, motherfucker, that was weeks ago. He's like, that was tonight. I hit you tonight. I'm sorry, Charlie Murphy. Let's have a truce. That that was like, I hit you. He was so fucking high. He thought when he punched him at the club, that was weeks ago and he should be over it by now. That's where Trump is.
Dude. Yes, it is. I love that I just saw a clip of Dave Chappelle's interview with Michelle Obama. And he talked about, he showed that sketch to Eddie Murphy before it aired. And Eddie didn't say anything.
Right.
And they were like sitting behind him. And then the only thing Eddie did was he put both of his fists up in the air like, yes.
Finally, somebody told the truth.
Detail about like something that Rick wore that night or something, but he loved it. He thought it was incredible.
Yeah, they weren't cowboy boots; they were platforms or something like that. Which,
yes,
right, yeah,
yes.
So rip Charlie Murphy. What a sad thing. That's one of those fame kills things, man. You just start partying with the wrong folks, and it gets too easy. That's it. It's always funny how you hear all these folks Guns N' Roses fans what they are. I've seen Steven Adler a couple times, and his drug use really messed him up. Like, it gave him effectively a palsy in the side of his face and really messed him up. But partly because he was late to the drug game. Everybody else had been using for a while and built up what they needed to get high and all this kind of stuff, and he just jumped in the pool where they were and. And that's what that happens to a lot of people who are in rehab. They come out and they do the same dose, when they break down and they can't not do it anymore. Ooh. They do the same dose as they did when they went in, but their body doesn't react to it. Your camera froze again. I just saw it happen, yeah. but you had a very disapproving look on your face, so it makes total sense in the context. It'll probably jump back in. There you go. It worked again. Yeah, it just took hang on. Yeah, that's exactly right. There yeah, we'll phase it. So this is okay. I don't. there's something fundamentally, what's the word I'm looking for when Trump is talking about athletes, it's getting pretty. It's really weird. It's, and again, I half the time I believe a lot of conservatives are just like pent up, closeted people, and they'd be a lot better off if they just came out of the closet. Holy shit! Just be yourself. We don't care.
Lindsey Graham.
Yes,
Tim
right. Democrats. Yes, right. Democrats don't have this problem because we don't hate gay people for being gay, but Republicans, it's like built into the brand. So what the fuck are they going to do? So they get more angry and weirder as time goes by, and then they have to prove to everybody else that they're not, so they act even harsher, right? There's a whole, by the way, right-wing maggotry has decided Trump is gay. I don't know if you've seen this around, but a bunch of them are like, he's gay anyways. Like it's their new defense against the Epstein stuff. Is that Trump just has trophy wives for show? I'll bring up the dude who does it. It's
Tim Pool or
no. Tim Pool doesn't make a decision about anything. It's guys on Rumble and BitChute. They're and Fuentes has brought up that Trump is gay, for example.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm not kidding. So they lay this at his feet, and the whole thing is that's why he talks about athletes the way he does. Now, I think it's more than likely. Also, I think there should be a distinction between narcissistically homosexual, meaning that you want a fucking idealized version of yourself and you don't actually care about someone, and someone who's gay who actually has not only a sexual attraction to someone of the same sex, but feelings for that person, which I think is kind of crucial to the whole thing. And Trump's lack of feelings towards even the women in his life, with the exception of the weird ones he has towards his daughter, are like that. So here's him talking about the athletes that are behind him.
And a friend of mine, Justin Gaethje, who is just a fighter like you've never seen. You see the kind of pounding he'll take, and then all of a sudden it's over.
I don't know why anybody would start to go about. It's just, you see,
well,
the kind of.
He's a bottom. He's a bottom.
Yeah,
I know
right.
You know it. Everybody knows it.
He's a power bottom. Even when he's a bottom, he's a top.
Over and the other guy.
We used to call him Helter Skelter in the locker room because when he gets to the bottom, he goes back to the top and it starts sliding. I don't know how the song goes, but
Nothing good.
Listen, like
just a fighter like you've never seen. You see the kind of pounding he'll take, and then all of a sudden it's over, and the other guy's not in good shape, right?
It's a crazy game.
Not in good shape. So these are the toughest people. These are the greatest fighters in the world. They're all champions, and they'll be fighting against very tough people also. And but I think you always go in thinking you're going to win. Of course. But they're fighting against.
You always go in thinking you're going to win. Kind of like Iran.
They're Olympians. They come from all over the world.
They're Olympians. They come from all over the world. Now, why is he saying that? Because the guy to his far right doesn't speak English. And he's got a translator whispering to him what the fuck Trump is saying the entire time this is going on. Bless that guy's heart.
Some come from extreme poverty. Some come from, not too many people come from Fifth Avenue for the most part. I would say Fifth Avenue is not well covered in the sport. But it's a special group of people with tremendous heart and really tremendous talent. And I really believe you're probably born with the punch, and you're born with an ability to take a punch, too. I was talking to Dana White last night. He was talking about that. Some people can take a punch, and some people can't. And in life, it's always good to be able to do that. And if you guys want to say anything, I don't want to pick out individual, but if you want to say anything, you could. But
they don't, by the way. He says a couple of things, whatever. But the idea that you're born genetically with the ability to take a punch is let's just start with how fucking offensive that is to the guys behind him who trained and fought a lot. I'm sure the first punch they took sucked. right? And, like, you know what you're like genetically, I don't know, you're born being able to take a punch. I don't even know why you guys bother to cover up. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I'll tell you who can take a punch is Dana White's wife.
Oh, ouch.
Hey.
Well, hey-oh. Although I will say I don't know if he was poor, if she would. The idea being that it's not that she can take a punch, is that punch has a back end on it. And you're like, what would you put up with? It's like somebody who robs a bank or something like that and gets $5 million and hides it, and they get 5 years for robbing the bank, and they go, I lost the money, it fell down a well, I don't know where it is, or I'd give it back. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but it disappeared. And then you go, let's see, could I have, in my regular job at fucking Pizza Hut, could I have made $5 million in 5 years? Or could I live rent-free in this building for 5 years and then come out $5 million richer and just evaporate, like move to Thailand? Yep. And that happens a bunch, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what would you put up with, overall? Yeah. So overall, and we're at the end of the hour, and I appreciate you being here with me, but the overall, I've seen, okay, let me see he just thinks he can, at this point, muscle his way through everything because he's not going to be able to think his way out of it. So everything now is about force and the application of force. He said today that if they don't agree to if Iran doesn't agree to his terms, if the ceasefire ends, you're going to know the ceasefire's over because you'll just see a big glow coming from Iran, which means fucking nukes.
Yes, that's the only way that can be interpreted.
Right. Everybody else
so much.
Oh, maggots have been tap dancing around this. Like, he doesn't mean nukes. You guys are just hyperbolic assholes. He absolutely means it.
He 100% means it. And it's going to be just like August of 1974 when Richard Nixon's impeachment was looming. And he was up all night, drunk off his ass, wandering the hallways of the White House, talking to portraits of past presidents. And the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense conferred with each other and said, we're going to get that fucking football away from this guy until he evens out. And of course, he resigned later, so it came to nothing. But now we're on, we're at the mercy of Hegseth and Rubio.
Yeah, this is the, and again, the irony is, I think even they are not game for nuking Iran, even at this point. Like, all of them, they're all looking to be the next maggot leader. So they've got to, that's the only thing saving us.
That's
is
correct.
That maggots.
That's the only reason that Marco Rubio stood in for Caroline Leavitt at the press conference and took questions. He was the most personable version of anyone from the Trump administration, first or second time. He was the funniest, jovialist, happy-go-lucky guy. And I'm like, where the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And then you realize he's auditioning.
Yeah.
He wants the world to know I'm not an asshole like Donald Trump.
Right. And I had to play along with this, or it would have been worse. That's the sales pitch for 2028.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
Real quick, this is the out the door. I'll let you go after this, but this is when he's talking about the Middle East and the ceasefire.
President, after these strikes, is the ceasefire with Iran still on?
Yeah, it is. It's they trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
Could you give us an update on what is the latest in those talks?
No, it's going. The talks are going very well, but they have to understand if it doesn't get signed, they're going to have a lot of pain. They're going to have a lot of pain. They want to sign it. I will tell you. They want to sign it a lot more than I do.
What was the response?
Okay, that's all right. That's also one of the weirder parts of this, because he's assuming the damage will convince them, and he's like, they want to make a deal. And when you ask him what do you base that on, that they want to make a deal? Well, they have to, or we'll fucking kill them, is the idea. And like,
I mean, level 40 bullshitter. That's who you're talking to, right?
Right. Yeah,
He's
and I
completely
don't
pulling
even
it
know
out of his ass.
I don't even know that he buys it at this point. I'm going to before we I let you go. I'm going to bring up your let's see.
Oh, hey, if there's any way
Yeah.
you can, send me
Yeah.
one of the tracks. Send me that track you were playing from your new album. I'm not going to share it with anybody before release,
Yeah.
but I'd love to listen to it in my car or on some my
Yes.
studio monitors here. I'd love to hear how it sounds for real.
I would, yes, I would gladly do that. Hold on. Epistemic Crisis. I'm just bringing up your page so I can show it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody, here we go. This guy right here. I got my vidIQ thing that comes up on it. Which is can you explain your icon, your avatar on the page?
Yeah, so the process of that's Mike McDaniel when he was actually still the coach of the Miami Dolphins, of course.
Yep.
But I chose that photo because the face he's making there is the face that I started making all the time when I started deconstructing fundamentalist Christianity and therefore right-wing authoritarian politics.
Right, sure. Yeah,
that right there is the face you're going to end up with the more you
Right.
learn about how much everyone's lying about in that world.
Right.
It's crazy.
All right. That explains it perfectly. And of course, there you are covering the gooey bruise situation. And I'm very curious. We'll work this out and we'll see over time because this is one of those things that's just friggin' inevitable at this point, Doc Adam. But we'll find out whether this is chemo drugs, Alzheimer's drugs, just keep him up on 2 feet, Elvis drugs.
Yes. There's a tipping point coming from 3 or 4 different directions. That's the clinically speaking. It's either frontotemporal dementia, where he'll incriminate himself with something he says that he's not supposed to say. It'll be that he aspirates on a Big Mac and develops pneumonia that he can't recover from. Or there will be a cardiac event, or there will be a vascular event where a blood clot travels from his leg to his lungs or something wild like that. It could be a fall and a traumatic injury. He could, I saw a patient today. He fell in the shower, smacked his head in the bathtub, 2 subdural hematomas at the same time.
Oof. Trump had a black eye,
yes, he did.
That they covered with makeup just recently. I want to say it was his left eye, but I can't tell if somebody was reversing the picture on it or whatever. But it was like, it's been a little bit, but it looks like something like he slipped and banged himself, or
that's right,
or was having trouble getting the golf club out of the bag, and that kind of thing.
I like that better.
Yeah, like I could caddy for myself. I know more about caddying than the caddies do. Tank, but like that in and of itself, could have been that move. I think in reality, and again, I would like to point out that Doc Adam is not endorsing any of these things happening because every time he was counting with his thumb, the thought bubble came up because of his Mac and gave the thumbs up on it. You had a little, you did. It gave the bubble like that. I think you have to look into the camera for it to happen. There it is. Whoa. Yeah, just because it did that does not mean that he's secretly hoping for it, even though that's exactly what it looks like.
This is my opinion.
Yes, right. But it is. But you're absolutely right. I mean, and I think the reality is that they're battening down the hatches on as many of them as they can, and it's just delaying the obvious to the point where they might all happen at once.
Sure. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Right, there you go. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you again very soon. And I'll send you some tunes through our regular conduit, so
Please
you'll have something to listen to.
Have
all
a
right.
good one, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, cheers. There he goes, Doc Adam, everybody. And chat room. I've been watching over the last little bit. There was what was the other speech he did? Like 2 days ago. It's almost impossible to hunt down. It used to be that we could find maybe 3-4 things in a speech, or I'd do the whole speech and there'd be like 3 or 4 things in it that were just laugh out loud fucking ridiculous. And now they've got him doing all this stuff out every day. they've got him doing as many speeches and keeping him in public as much as possible, because the minute he drops out of public, everybody's like, all right, what's up? So, and obviously there's something to it. Otherwise they just go, no, he's busy. There's a lot of things. We're just not doing any public stuff because we got actual governing to do. But since he's a PR president and it's always been for show, and he's just a regular Republican wearing a fucking skin suit that, of an outsider. Oh my God. Because of that, they have to keep presenting him. They have to keep having him show up. All right. So, and if he doesn't, they have a panic attack about it. It's getting so bad, and it's bad, but it's getting so bad that maggots of all sorts are having a really, really difficult time making excuses for it. It's it's huge. And I'm going to try this. There are a couple of things. I'll show you this right here, whatever. We'll get to something silly in a moment as well. But there's this guy, Jesse Kelly. I've shown him a couple of times. He's the big, we're surrounded by communists and fucking commie all the time. And just for the record, communism, socialism, Marxism aren't a thing. They're not. They're right up there with libertarianism. They're shoot the shit ideologies with no mechanic whatsoever. So the idea that they're going to actually supplant democracy or some nonsense is ridiculous. Fascistic dictatorships have a very solid system, and those guys will definitely try to do it. But anyways, this is his big bugaboo. This guy, you'll know him when you see him. But apparently, whoops, sorry, I jump in here. This is this guy right here. This is it. Make no mistake where you are. All right, this is here's what Trump is really after in Iran. Okay, so clearly to these assholes, it's not what he says. Lest you would not need, I suppose you wouldn't need to put out a video at all. You just play Trump saying what he's doing. But just by making this video, this guy and perhaps this guy from, I think the stunt guy from Animal House, that I presume they're calling Trump a liar, because you wouldn't have to make a what he's really after video unless he was lying about the reasoning he gave himself. Right? Yeah, hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams, with the greatest chat room in the history of chat rooms. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Super chat's a great way to support the show. Appreciate you guys being here. I don't bring that up like I should, especially when I have guests on the show. And then, of course, Venmo. If you use Venmo, you can buy me a cup of coffee that way. It's a good way to go. Yeah, it's Flounder's stunt double. Exactly. So let's see. I've been wondering, I'm sure people in the fucking White House are wondering what Trump is actually doing in this circumstance, right? So maybe we'll find out. You got people like Scott Jennings trying to start fights because they can't come up with any more excuses. It must be exhausting, Chandra. Can you imagine having to defend this shit? Okay, here we go. Trump has the world as his nose. Nice graphic. That's good. You're putting that Canva subscription to good use, buddy. Also, there is no Trump foreign policy.
All right. Everybody has an opinion on Iran. Foreign policy is amazingly complicated.
Yeah, no, not when you start shit you can't finish. That's not complicated. It's always complicated. This isn't. Anyway,
and because there's so many different people lying about every different aspect of every kind of foreign policy.
But enough with Trump, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Hegseth. Yeah.
It's so hard to get actual information.
It is. It's so hard. What do you expect? To have your hero Trump actually say what's really happening? Sorry, are you calling Trump fake news? How dare you, sir? Do you even MAGA?
What's happening? What's not happening? How are things looking? How long things are going to go? Let's talk to Ryan about this. Joining me now, Ryan Macbeth, open source intelligence analyst.
He analyzes tweets. He's an open source intelligence analyst. So the stuff that's available to the public. He's an expert in reading select newspapers.
His Substack, Ryan Macbeth, Substack.com, well worth your time. All right, Ryan, Iran, let's set aside all the propaganda. How are things going? How much longer is this going to go on? Just the show is yours. What's happening?
Solve my problem for me. When I say set aside the propaganda, I clearly mean Iran, not the fact that Trump is lying to my goddamn face every day, and I have no way of knowing which way is up.
Well, that's a tough one.
Oh my God, I was not expecting that voice. Oh, that's a golly. We're going to work on Iran right now.
Going to go on. Just the show is yours. What's happening?
Well, that's a tough one. If I had a crystal ball, I would be on a boat making P. Diddy look like he was Amish, right?
Sorry, you went with P. Diddy? Yes, I don't think Amish people, by and large, beat their wives and girlfriends. Is that what you mean? Making P. Diddy look like he was Amish. Why beat around the bush? Why not just go, if I was, I'd be making Epstein look like a renter.
So I can't really give you a timeline of how long this can go on, but I can tell you this. With the blockade, what you're seeing is Iran losing between $450 to $500 million a day. And that would be tough for any country to absorb.
Right, but if the alternative is to open yourself up to being completely wiped out,
So you may have a system where people aren't getting paid. The IRGC might not be getting paid on time. You could have people.
The IRGC is going to walk off the job. There's going to be a general strike of religious fanatics. Jesus Christ, man.
Printing money, trying to put them in armored cars, sending out cash because their banking system was disrupted by coalition attacks. So the biggest issue facing Iran is
throw up a graphic that apropos of fucking nothing with, I think, African soldiers. You know what? Why do I even?
Going to run out of places to put oil. And that's a really big deal.
Yeah, by all measures, they've got at least 3 months. Remember, their oil wells were supposed to explode last week. If you'll recall, that's what Trump said.
They just explode.
Right.
Because when you stop drilling for oil, when you shut down a well, apparently that oil sinks back down to the well. It makes it a lot harder to open. You have to use special chemicals and so on to get that well back open. So
special chemicals.
Iran is running out of choices. So they could theoretically burn that oil, but there's about 10 barrels of water in 1 barrel of oil. So you got to get the water out before you can even burn the oil. Or maybe somehow build a large clay reservoir where they can keep that oil out in the open. I mean,
way to give them ideas, dummy.
None of these options are good. But probably in the next 2-3 weeks, Iran is going to physically run out of oil storage space.
He's a genius, eh?
What the fuck? How long? Say that again. How long do we have in this war that was over weeks ago?
In the next 2-3 weeks, Iran.
In the next 2 to 3 weeks. Trump said again the wells were going to explode last weekend, and they're running out of time, and it's over anyways, and we basically could leave, but we're not going to. But this guy's like, in a couple of 3 weeks, I mean, maybe, I don't know, they're going to run out of places to put this stuff.
Iran is going to physically run out of oil storage space, and then it has to choose. Do we make some sort of concessions to the United States to let our tankers back out into the Gulf? Or do we just shut down these wells and possibly have a much harder time reopening them when this conflict is finished. So I've often said in the military,
Even Jesse Kelly is having a hard time going, well, 2 to 3 weeks. It's a long fucking time. I remember the Iraq war getting punted by weeks at a time.
military, you want to give your adversary problem or dilemmas, not problems. A problem has a solution, one or more solutions. A dilemma has two or more solutions, all of which are equally bad.
Right. So Iran has given Trump a lot of dilemmas.
So if Iran comes to the peace table and comes to some sort of agreement, they would almost certainly lose their nuclear ambitions. But if they don't have an economy in which they can build their nuclear arsenal. So there's two bad choices that Iran is facing right now.
Yeah, so I don't even know why we need to fight anymore. We just need to blockade them, and then they'll just starve to death, and then the country will be empty, and then there'll be all these buildings we can just take, I guess.
All right, I have a laundry list of questions I want to ask you now from that little bit there. Now, first of all, obviously, when you mentioned the financial losses, that's staggering. I realize it's not a tiny country, but they're not the United States of America. That these are unbelievable and, as you mentioned, unsustainable losses. However, that's a logical.
Well, they're obviously sustainable for at least 3 more weeks, according to this guy, which, since he's a Trump puffer, probably means 2 to 3 more months.
Way of looking at it. What
Right. Is everybody in the chat just going, hello, Newman?
do we do if they just don't submit? Because people have run into this before. Militarily, a country just doesn't say, I give up. What do we do from there? Or what happens to them from there? Do we sit back? Is there a revolution? What happens from there?
They glow in the dark, or we bomb the shit out of them, or Trump turns tail and leaves, or both, and neither at the same time.
Well, ideally, there should
Ideally. Adorable.
Be some sort of revolution. We haven't really touched the Artesh, which is, for lack of a better term, the civilian army of Iran. And I think the hope always was that the Iranian people would rise up and defeat the regime, and the Artesh might be a part of that, since a lot of young men are drafted into the Artesh. And the Artesh isn't particularly religious. Most Iranians are Muslim the same way most Christians are Christmas and Easter Christians. The IRGC, they are the true.
Yeah, best put the graphics back up of the African soldiers, the Iranian, I guess, logo and the flag, and then a missile that's apparently duct taped together.
Believers. They are the ones who are trying to fulfill the coming of the Mahdi, which is this prophet-like figure that will join with Jesus at the end of the world and go and defeat the Antichrist, and then have peace on earth for, I believe, either 9 or 19 years before the final judgment. And the IRGC people, they kind of want to move this thing along. Now,
yeah, so do the evangelicals that are in Jesse Kelly's group.
When it comes to...
You say this like it's a bad thing.
What we can do, we can maintain a blockade against Iran theoretically indefinitely. We'll have to swap out ships as they go back to port for refit and having crew rotation. But we can keep this up far longer than Iran can hold out. So the ideal situation...
Yes. Sort of a forever arrangement.
Is that Iran has some sort of revolution where the people just can't stand this anymore. The less ideal solution...
I can't stand this anymore. And I don't even mean the war. I mean the show.
...is a peace treaty where Iran comes to the table. They say, you know what? We will...
Yeah, good idea. Move the cameras around. That'll keep everybody from getting bored. Also, I'm just... This is a very pro-MAGA channel. You're not helping your cause with the whole what is actually going on with Iran lower third. It's I don't think this qualifies as the hard sell that Donald Trump was hoping for.
We will give up our nuclear weapons. We're going to stop being jerks around the Sea of Hormuz. We're going to stop.
I don't think that's in the response that they gave back about not being jerks.
building long-range missiles, and from that, then we have inspectors and so on to make sure they're fulfilling
Yeah, something, blah, blah, details.
their end of the bargain, and sanctions that snap back into place if they decide they don't want to play ball.
Which was in the JCPOA. What a fucking moron.
All right. Now,
All right. Does Jesse Kelly know that those points he was making were in the JCPOA?
let's shift to something else. You
No, let's not. What do you think, you solved that?
mentioned these oil wells. It's not a light switch where you can just flip it on and off. If they stop pumping, there are consequences there where you're not going to get it going again, or it's going to take you a while. That brings
Yeah, you better look out or I'm going to make shit you do take a little while longer.
me to the oil flow of the entire planet.
Yeah.
What are the consequences, economic consequences, to all of planet Earth if Iranian oil gets taken off the market? Are they significant? Is it nothing? What is it?
Well, I believe 90% of Iran's oil went to China. The
Nope.
big issue right now is that there are a lot of tankers that are in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and they are afraid to transit the Strait of Hormuz. Not because it's mined. I actually don't believe the strait is mined, but you don't need a mine to make a minefield. You just have
Wow.
to make people scared that their ship could run
Or even terrified, hence the term scaredorism.
into a mine. And one of the things I've often said is if I offered you a
Oh dear. A trip on a boat where you played Amish Diddy?
95% chance at winning $1 million, but a 5% chance that you owe me 10,000, you'd probably take that bet, right? But a tanker owner never would. And the reason is actually very simple. I've likened this to Uber.
Because every shipment is worth multiple millions and one mine would cost them billions, because that's not a fair analogy financially.
Drivers. If you are an Uber driver and you get into a car accident,
Oh God, it's going to get dumber, isn't it? It's just, the whole thing's just going to wind into, I mean, I don't know how it can't.
yeah, your insurance company will pay to replace your car, but you lose out on all the revenue that you could have earned had you been driving for Uber in that time it takes the insurance company to replace your car.
Unless you work for a living and you have insurance that covers the loss of income from that, which these shipping companies do.
If you are the owner of a container ship or an oil tanker, you want a 0% chance of being hit by a missile or a drone or a mine.
Genius. I can't believe you got this all from open source intelligence.
Because then, if your ship sinks, you will lose out on all the revenue that you would have gained had that ship still been afloat and making deliveries. So to a lot of people who own tankers, it's just cheaper to keep those tankers in the Gulf waiting for any kind of opportunity for Hormuz to reopen to general traffic. Now,
God damn, what a reach. Look at both of these dickheads. This is, I mean, there are few cheerleaders for what Trump wants to do online more than this motherfucker. And both of these guys are like, I have no idea how to make this turd shine. I can't do it. Please help me.
I can tell you this, when it comes to the world, we're really thinking about China. Because 90% of Iran's
What the fuck are you looking, buddy?
oil went directly to
You know, I think it's like a little kid telling a lie.
China. So we're talking Chinese gas prices are at $4.16 a gallon. Pretty expensive. It's down a little bit from last month, but up significantly from what it was back in February. Now, the rest of the world is suffering from a lack of oil coming from the Persian Gulf. That is an issue. I believe in Europe it's up to $7.88 a gallon. Now, yes, in Europe and in China they price it per liter, but I altered this for an American audience.
Thanks very much. Appreciate you talking down to
We
us.
understand per gallon. I believe in the Netherlands it's something like $11 a gallon. It's extremely expensive there. But Here's the deal here. If we can successfully patrol and use maritime surveillance aircraft.
Oh, God. I'm beginning to hate this guy like Jerry hates Newman. Okay, couple more seconds, but I got to say, can you imagine prepping for this show as a maggot and knowing how you felt on the night of Trump's reelection, how ascendant and powerful and fuck you libs you felt, and so much so that you just ran your show on like any day now, man.
And ships to successfully move
and then you got to prep for this.
Vehicles or move ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and we still keep the blockade of Iran on, then we have people transiting the strait. The rest of the world economy is fine, and Iran gets to suffer. So that is not something that is of little consequence to Iran. Iran watches their neighbors continue to get rich, and meanwhile, they can't pay their bills. So that is certainly something that we can do. It just
What are we doing? What's the thing we can do? Blockade it and let them watch everybody else go through the strait, but not their ships because we're blockading just their shit. So they're just going to sit there and take it. Motherfucker, they fired on our ships for hours. All right. This is aggravating me. You want to see why, beyond the fact that they're being run by a nutter, that Trump's maggot crowd is losing their shit? We'll go to what the lovely guys over at Midas Touch call state regime media, a.k.a. Fox News, when they do that. Let me show you something. Back the fuck up. Okay. Let me show you how they're handling it. Let's see. We'll open this one. Okay. And then this one. And the lovely folks over at Fox News are pitching a fit trying to sell this. Yeah, here it is. Escalation warning. Look at this. This is the primary one. Yeah. So remember, this is over. It's been over. It's done. The market's responding as if everything's fine. Gas prices are going to come down like a rocket, which apparently he means like we're bombing a girls' school, I suppose. So let me just show you how Fox is handling all of this shit right now. And it's what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's they're handling it like, Trump says we should handle Tylenol.
Not good.
Right. So this is it. Hold on. Make no mistake where you are. That's going to be stuck in my head. Okay. By the way, this is not a good thumbnail if you think the ceasefire is holding. This is Fox's thumbnail today, this morning. This does not look like an organization that is tired of winning.
After these strikes, is the ceasefire?
So we saw this earlier when Doc Adam was on the show, but in case you're just joining us for this clip, and welcome to the show, how you doing? Hit the like, share the show, leave a comment below. Wow, that rhymes. I don't know why I've been saying that the whole time. This is when he says you'll see a giant glow in the Middle East, which clearly is his reference to nuking Iran.
Fire with Iran still on?
Yeah, it is. They trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
President Trump.
Also, I would like to say his voice sounds threaded and weak and kind of pathetic, just for the record. But that's, in all honesty, that's him threatening the use of nukes in the Middle East.
Telling reporters the U.S.-Iran ceasefire remains in place after an exchange of fire in the Strait of Hormuz.
So there's a ceasefire where we and the Iranians are firing at each other. It's great. It's great. Where's Rudy Giuliani? Oh, he's in the hospital. But when you need him to go, truth isn't truth. Words don't mean what words mean anymore.
The Pentagon confirming 3 warships were all targeted by Iranian missiles.
And Trump's okay with that. 3 of our ships were targeted by Iran, but I'm sure it only happened once.
Drones and small boats. The U.S. military responding by hitting Iranian missile and drone launch sites, command and control locations, and surveillance.
This is a ceasefire, I'd like to remind you.
Surveillance equipment. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, saying Iran has created a new agency to control shipping in the Strait. Watch this.
So what are we asking? Cease its attacks on commercial shipping, cease mining, and remove its mines from an international waterway, cease tolling, charging illegal tolls in the Strait of Hormuz, and allow the UN to move forward with humanitarian aid, life-saving aid, through that international corridor. Just this week, Iran's own state media announced that the regime has launched what it calls the Persian Gulf Straits Authority.
This sounds like the talks are going very well. For real. Maggots, congratulations. You know how Trump said the talks are going very well? They're going so well that the Iranians set up a new governmental organization to make people going through the Strait of Hormuz, pay a toll.
Where it seeks to demand that all ship captains from international shipping, commercial shipping, civilian shipping, basically have to check in and pay a bribe, pay a toll in order to use these international waterways. So that doesn't just affect this region. It affects the entire world.
Joining me now, former Trump Deputy National
who was saying this was going to work out, and she had a good feeling yesterday.
Security Advisor Katie McFarland. Katie, you heard Mike Waltz say this, a bribe, a toll. This is the Iranians' new strategy.
Right, which Trump says is signs the talks are going very well. They've agreed to everything.
Reaction.
Yeah, like the Iranians can say all they want. They can't pull any of it off. They don't control the Strait. We control the Strait. American military vessels are going through the Strait. When
they got fired at, dipshit.
Iran, quote, attacks the American vessels. It's like a one-off thing. These are...
No, it isn't.
They're little fast boats. They're like speedboats. They're like the kind of boats that pull water skiers. Can we...
Yes, and they could roll up and put a bomb on the hull and blow it up.
Deal with them? Yeah, that's all that's left of the Iranian Navy. It's not...
Also, it's not the Navy. They fired from the ground. That's why we've shot at these places on the coast.
An issue of blowing them out of the water. So Iran, look, the Iranian...
The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow patch in the Gulf of, between the Gulf of Oman and the Gulf of the Persian Gulf, which makes it susceptible to missile fire from within Iran, even well inside the country. You don't have to have boats to do damage to ships then.
Iranian people are proud people. They're not going to cry uncle. They're not going to admit defeat. But
Trump said they were going to.
The fact is we've won the war. We control the Strait. And now it's just a matter, will they sign on the dotted line? And if they don't sign on the dotted line, as President Trump said, he'll use the military option. And even if they do sign on the dotted line, there are only 2 things that matter. Can we inspect it? Can we guarantee that they're doing it? And if they're not abiding by the terms of the agreement, then we'll have to punish them. So what does that mean? There's something called SNAP inspections. SNAP means that we can go anytime, any place, anywhere in Iran to look.
Yeah, they haven't agreed to that.
At anything we think is suspicious. That's never been a part of any deal we've had with Iran.
And it still isn't.
And let's say, for example, they agree to that. But then inspectors come and Iran says, no, not today. How about day after tomorrow? Then guess what? We assume that they're doing something wrong, that they're not abiding by the terms of the agreement, and we blow up the facility.
Well, that means then, if what you're saying is correct, and I've heard the Secretary of State say the same thing, that that's all they do with these negotiations. It's passing notes like you're in class, because it's just all they're doing is just stretching out the time frame. And they've been doing this for decades, by the way, to the world, but especially.
Right. So Trump is not even with all this bombing, hasn't gotten any results any different than anybody else.
To past presidents here, not this president.
It's like the same as the pre-JCPOA situation, except more dead kids.
President right now. So here's the question. If the Iranians do sign on, quote unquote, the dotted line, and then they start to renege, our inspectors don't go in for the nuclear inspections, etc., doesn't that mean that we're going to have prolonged military assets in that region?
Yes. Yes, it does.
And what does that look like, KT?
Okay, so I think that initially, yes, we would have to remain in the region. There's nothing in this agreement about the United States Armada leaving, I would point out. But we.
Yes, there is. In their 14 points, one of them is get the fuck out of here. The removal of American troops and military assets from their periphery, which includes the fucking water. It is in there. Read the fucking document. Read what we sent and read what they sent back. I'm fine. I'm all right.
But we would stay in the region for a period of time to make sure that it is being enforced. But there are other countries in the region which have a vested interest in making sure Iran abides by it. You know.
Yeah, but they're more than happy to lay that off on us, dumbass.
The Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Egypt.
Right. And they use our troops for those kind of things. They always have.
Israel. So I don't think we would have to have the kind of military presence in the area that we've had in the last 2 or 3 months. We wouldn't have to have that indefinitely, maybe for a little bit of time, and then we
a little bit of time. How many years is a little bit of time?
Pass it off and share the responsibility with others in the region who are very capable themselves.
I want to ask you about what's...
If they were very capable themselves, why isn't Trump yelling about them for the last 47 years putting up with this shit? Why didn't they handle it? It's their goddamn neighborhood.
What's coming next week. So this conflict remains top of mind ahead of President Trump's trip to Beijing next week. Reportedly, he
if he goes,
wants to end the conflict before he meets with Xi Jinping. Watch this, KT.
I have a very good relationship with President Xi.
Oh yeah, this is the one I was talking about before, where there's a giant like hole in his hair.
I find him to be a tremendous guy.
I don't know what's happening here. Like this whole chunk, it's just, this is all just gone. Like this is curled over the top of it, but this whole area now, that's just fucking gone.
And we get along well, and we're doing a lot of business with China and making a lot of money. He's been.
We always do. We're the retailer, they're the wholesaler, dummy.
Very nice about this, you know. In all fairness, he gets like 60% of his oil from Hormuz, and I think he's been very respectful. We haven't been challenged by China. They don't challenge us, and he wouldn't do that.
So President Trump's visit follows the Iranian foreign minister's meeting with top Chinese diplomats that happened earlier this week. And
Exactly.
China reportedly is urging Iran to pursue diplomacy and avoid resuming hostilities as it seeks to position itself as a mediator in the conflict. So, KT, what are you expecting? Because I can think that it's hard for me to say China as a mediator, but at the same time, which I think is not true, but at the same time, I can think of 1 million barrels of oil as to why they want to mediate this conflict and see it end.
Yeah, that's true. Because if they don't have it there, a lot of people are going to die in their country.
I think what happened last week is that the Chinese officials told the Iranian officials, settle this deal now.
And they didn't.
We don't really care about your nuclear ambitions. What we care about is all that oil flowing. It's not just oil from Iran. It's the entire region, as the president just said. It's oil from the United Arab Emirates, from the Saudis, from Iraq.
Yes, here's a picture of Xi Jinping drinking some of the oil.
From Iran. And it
to show its health benefits in fighting off strokes.
Does represent about half of China.
Why is Fox using pictures of Xi Jinping from 12 years ago?
It's imported energy, and it probably altogether in China's whole energy mix, that's probably 20%, 10 to 15 to 20% of China's total energy needs, which they're not getting right now. So I think what happens next week is that.
Yeah, and they just staunched that by screwing the eastern provinces and making sure Shanghai and Beijing, Nanjing and Hong Kong have all they need.
President Trump and President Xi sit down and say, okay, we're the adults in the room. Sure. How are we going to deal?
Oh, my God. We're doomed.
with this. And President Trump will say no nuclear weapons for Iran, and President Xi will say, okay, here's what we need to do to get Iran back in the box. And
yeah, and then they'll start talking to people that they're going to talking with as they talk about this, and then talks will continue to talk about this, what they talked about. So, now we're talking. All right.
I think that the pressure that Iran will be receiving on the receiving end from China will be significant.
Yeah, but they have to give a fuck, and they don't. All right, secondary. Hit the like, share the show. That's the European one. So, China warning: growing U.S. deficit fuels escalating trade fight with China. This is in the lead up to him meeting. This is same Fox Business, different topic.
Good morning. I'm Cheryl Casoni. I'm in for Maria Bartiromo. It is Friday. It is May 8th. It is 8 a.m.
Because she doesn't want to be here to tell the bad news.
On the East Coast.
It's in her contract.
All eyes on next week's summit between President Trump and Xi Jinping as Washington and Beijing look to stabilize a relationship strained by trade, Taiwan, and the Iran conflict. Trade expected to be front and center, with both sides potentially looking to extend the current truce. The Iran conflict also likely to dominate the talks. President Trump expected to discuss China's purchasing of Iranian oil. China's foreign minister meeting with his Iranian counterpart, calling for a swift reopening.
Which is, by the way, the Chinese leadership giving face to the Iranians over Trump. If you know anything about Chinese political cultural behavior, that's exactly what they're doing. Meeting with Iran before they meet with Trump is part of that. If they were meeting with Iran after they met with Trump, there would be this belief system that, they're going to tell them what for. Trump talked to Xi, they agreed on something, they're going to tell the Iranians what's up. The Chinese are meeting with Iran first, and then they're meeting with Trump to tell you what Iran will put up with.
The Strait of Hormuz as Beijing moves to protect energy supplies. Meanwhile, the White House reportedly is inviting executives from companies including NVIDIA, Apple, and Boeing along on this trip.
Because billionaire.
Joining me now, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. Jamieson, it's great to have you on the program. Thank you for being with us.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So where do you see the biggest area for possible cooperation with China, despite the ongoing trade tensions between the United States and that country?
It's important to look at all of this in the long history of U.S.-China relations.
Nice voice break on long.
We've always had a really robust trading relationship with China over the past.
Yeah, because they make shit and we slap a label on it and sell it.
20 to 30 years. All that being said, it's been wildly imbalanced with China exporting just vast amounts of goods to the United States. And
right, because they're wholesalers.
Largely blocking a lot of U.S. imports of goods and even.
Because the average Chinese person does not have the ability to afford American goods. And the ones that do don't buy American goods. They buy fucking Lamborghinis and fucking Rolex watches or like Italian clothes and shit like that. They're fancy Kardashian dickheads.
And services. So our goal going forward is to have stability. We think we can have a conversation with China about bottom line outcomes. How much can we be shipping to them? How much should they ship to us? What kind of goods should those be?
Nonsense.
I think there's, not really a situation where we go and get China to change the way they govern, the way they manage their economy. That's all.
Whether they tie their people to chairs if they say anything bad about the economy.
All baked into their system.
And torture them.
I think there is a world where we find out where can we optimize trade between China and the U.S. to achieve more balance.
This is undoubtedly the trade relationship on the world stage. At the same time, you've got this Iranian conflict. And, President Trump has to go over to meet with Xi Jinping right after this meeting with China's foreign minister and the Iranians. I mean, how does that play out, do you think?
Plays out like they teabagged him. Okay. So last little chunk of this, them getting together. This is fed up Trump escalates EU trade fight.
As President Trump is putting the pressure on Europe, he's giving the EU an ultimatum: comply with the trade deal by July 4th, or America will raise tariffs to a much higher level. That's a quote. It's been almost a year since the European Union agreed to the deal with America.
Allegedly. Also, I don't believe that.
And the White House is just fed up.
Boo, fuckity who.
7-8 months later, the EU has not actually implemented any single part of their trade deal obligation.
Oh, right. You mean after Trump's tariff shit got thrown out, so they no longer have to comply because the tariff threats that he used were illegal in the first place, and he has no reason to put a 15% permanent tariff on anybody that he instigated for 150 days. That's going to run out before the fucking 250. So first of all, there is no deal. The deal they agreed to was under pressure that he did not have the legal authority to actually put on them in the first place. Why would they keep their end of a deal that he doesn't have the ability to enforce anyways? And again, this is just him transferring the cost of goods onto the American taxpayer. These countries don't pay the tariffs. The importer pays the tariffs, and they pass that along to the consumer. It's Trump's backdoor VAT tax to patch a hole in the deficit that he created on the backs of consumers so that billionaires and millionaires don't have to pay that much more in taxes for all the shit that he wants, and it goes to everybody who buys something at Target.
Obligations, whereas during, for the past 7 months, the U.S. has been in compliance. We adjusted our tariffs.
Somebody said they weren't illegal. Tariffs aren't illegal. No, how he applied them were. He does not have the legal authority to do a permanent negotiation with these countries where he forces them into 45, 85% tariffs. He has to go to Congress for that. That's what makes them illegal. They are not lawful. They're not criminal. They're just stupid. They don't you can't enforce them. And we ended up giving that money back. He's in the process. They're setting up this refund process to all the American companies and the American citizens who imported goods and had to pay a fucking tariff on it. We're not, if you'll notice in the refunds on the tariffs, the money isn't going back to Italy or China or England or fucking Germany. None of the refunds are going to these countries. None of them. Why is that? Because they never paid them in the first fucking place. Americans pay the tariffs. It's an import tariff.
Tariffs. They have lower tariffs on autos than the rest of the world.
Jesus Christ. That's because there's only one other place. And no, they don't, by the way. That's a lie. The Japanese have the cheapest tariffs right now over the Europeans. And who the fuck else is he talking about? Chinese cars aren't allowed in the country. We're not buying Indian and fucking Russian cars. That's it. Between Japan, South Korea, and Europe, they're all paying the 15% right now. It's all the same, which again is not an enforceable legal tariff.
So at some point you have to say, well, if the EU is not in compliance, we'll wait to be in compliance until they are as well.
So.
Compliance with what? Our demands we can't enforce?
This isn't really a president that I'd mess with in that regard and not comply and just ignore. He's already in.
Yeah, because he's super willing to force Americans to saddle this fucking expense.
Annoyed with our European allies as a result of their inaction with respect to the war in Iran. Your thoughts, Gary?
It's May and we're talking tariffs. Yippee. But let me state for the record, to get things done in Parliament over there is talk about things that are frozen. Takes a very long time, and I guess the president's fed up and is threatening.
Oh, well, I got news for you. It takes a long time to do that tariff shit over here. Trump just didn't do it. Thought he didn't have to. That's exactly why we're in this situation. He bypassed our effective parliamentary process by leaving Congress out of it, so all of his tariffs were illegal.
Threatening again, yippee again, and let's hope it doesn't get to that. I think he's given him till July. Mm-hmm. I thought the deal was done. Didn't you? I don't know where this bubbled up from.
This is very annoying because it's
so annoying.
Symptom of a larger problem in Europe, which is that to a certain degree, I feel like they feel that the rules don't apply to them.
Sorry, you feel that they feel the rules don't apply to them? Our president is the one that applied unlawful tariffs without invoking the power of Congress, who has the right to put these in. And if they're that great, why wouldn't Congress do this? Why wouldn't Congress clearly see that we're being screwed, like he says, if they look at the books and they go through committee and they sit there and they go, oh my God, Europe has been screwing us this whole time, just like Trump said. Why wouldn't they put the tariffs in place? They would. They've done it with steel tariffs. They've done it with, dumping of fucking washing machines under Obama. They do it when you go to them and you can prove it. But if you're just making it up and this is just a farce so you can shift the tax burden from the wealthy to the consumer, then Congress will look at the books and go, what the fuck are you talking about? You're just transferring wealth from the working class in the United States to the rich.
We're abiding, Brian, by our side of the arrangement and the agreement, and they're just choosing.
No, we're not. First of all, part of our agreement was, if you don't do this, we're going to blow your brains out. We're going to do a 100% tariff on everything. And then that turned out to be bullshit. So if you find out the gun isn't loaded, where's your leverage? Secondly, this 15% on fucking everybody means it's just this kind of awful version of favored nations. So who cares? The Europeans are in the same boat as everybody else, and for 150 days, and then it goes away. And then what's Trump going to do? Another 150 days? It doesn't work that way.
Choosing to ignore it.
It's just very hard to have sympathy for the EU right now. Like, if they were...
Nobody's asking you to have sympathy, you pathetic prick.
If they were kind of stepping up and doing their thing and being a great ally, I guess maybe
They are.
could say, well, let's look into this and see. But
By the way, he's like, give them a break on tariffs if they help us solve our Iran problem, which has already been solved and is basically over, and we could leave and it would take them 20 years. And they're a nuclear program. They can't have a nuke, but we blew it up last year and it's been totally obliterated. But maybe they still want it, and we got to blow the want out of their fucking head.
They don't. And I think they use, we got to run it through the bureaucracy, Gary, as the excuse for why it's not happening.
Bureaucracy.
And so I'm like, you know what? These guys, they have been cutting themselves off at the knees for a long time, and it's frustrating to deal with them. I get why the president's mad, and maybe they need to
Look, of all the people on this panel, the guy who does his homework the least, if ever at all, is that dipshit. I have never seen a coherent thought based on reality come out of this dipshit's head. I don't even know his name. We've seen him a couple of times in these clips or whatever. The women seem to be doing their work. I disagree with their conclusions, but they seem to be talking from some sense of they went over the figures and they're either trying to turd polish or avoid the issue or actually speaking about it, like the girl in the pink over here who dropped the bad news. She threw the turd in the punch bowl last episode we saw with these fools. She actually went, I don't know, I've been listening to all sides of this and none of this makes any goddamn sense. Right? So look at, is it, what's her name over here in the black? Look at her looking down at the table, just reading her shit. Either she's on her phone or whatever while he's talking. They're paying some level of attention. They're trying to find a way to lie about this. And he's not even bothering.
He needs to bring a bigger stick to the conversation.
Well,
he can't.
Going to have to deal with this, and he's also going to China next week.
Don't. You're going to regret it. Don't.
The Europe should this go down in private, but the Europeans.
Yeah, probably. If you're wondering, probably.
Kind of sort of need our oil and our jet fuel and our gasoline.
Yes.
Sorry, so we're going to put an embargo on their oil and jet fuel so that the tariffs are working so fucking well that we've got to make their engines shut down and their houses lose power.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe you ought to play ball.
Maybe you should get fucked.
Maybe if you want to keep the cars running.
Sorry, asshole. You think by eliminating demand and increasing supply in the United States by not selling it to them, who else are we going to sell it to? China? Is this the idea you were going to divert fuel away from our allies because they won't operate as an offensive treaty organization instead of a defensive treaty organization? All right. Like, maybe we should starve their kids, is her argument.
On time. You might want to like play nice because the economy over there is in the wood chipper, so to speak. I almost said something different. And
Toilet, shitter.
And I don't understand the rest.
Nobody cares. It doesn't change the reality at all. Use your big girl words. Nobody gives a fuck.
A sense to just finish the deal. But that's who they are.
What deal? There is no deal. Trump made a deal last year based on the idea that he had leverage he did not have, and that leverage went away. So why would they abide with forced leverage that he no longer has? Why? Why would they do it? Why would the Europeans live up to their half of a deal that they didn't want to do in the first place, but Trump was like, I'm going to throw 100% tariff on you if you don't. And then they find out that's actually illegal. He can't do it. He doesn't have the leverage to do it, even though he has the House and the fucking Senate and allegedly the biggest mandate ever. He can't convince voters or his own party to vote for these tariffs. Why not? I mean, that's the biggest question of all. Why in the fuck can Trump not get his own tariffs through Congress? Because it's not, I mean, 1-to-1, this doesn't add to the deficit. You can do this through reconciliation. You don't need 60%. You know what I mean? Like, you don't. He doesn't have, he doesn't need, like, this does not add to the deficit. In theory, it lays it off on other people. It certainly doesn't add to the government deficit. So in all seriousness, he should be able to do this with just a simple majority. But he can't. Because he can't even get his own party on board with this. Why not? Because it'll do more damage than good. And they all know it. And it's not even that, like, he has to deal with 8 guys that are breakaways and, that sucks. There's some Freedom Caucasians in there that are going to shit the bed and refuse to vote for it and John McCain it, right? That's not what he's worried about. He's worried about the fact that 80% of the House Republicans will vote against this. 80%, if not all, of the Republicans in the Senate will vote against these tariffs. Because they sit in committee and do the work. They actually have to report to their states. They actually have to give a fuck. Some of them even want careers after Donald Trump is gone. He doesn't care. He's a fucking lame duck. He has been since the day he walked into office. He's feathering his own nest. This is to benefit other countries that have been jockeying for power against Europe to help them, namely Russia and China. He's doing them a favor. He's helping Russia and China in this circumstance. Specifically Russia by denigrating and maybe trying to remove us from NATO, which he cannot do, but he can undercut it. And specifically China in future investment, because he's one of these China's eating our lunch shitheads where his brain is thinking about China 15 years ago.
And I guess suffering is their national anthem.
Ooh. Taylor, you've been kind of ripping
continental anthem
on Europe for that slow growth, for their inaction, for sort of draining the system and not being compliant. And this just underscores that.
I'm not surprised. I feel like they are pulling an Iran right now. They're just going to wait and see who the next president is. And in the meantime,
yeah, you don't have leverage if they can wait that long. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, she's trying her best, and I think she's to some degree right, because they know why can they wait? Why can they wait till there's another president? Because they know he does not have the votes to actually enact these tariffs and keep them there. So his threats are fucking empty. it's all bark, no bite. They know it, especially now. They might have thought last year, like, oh, fuck, this guy might be able to do something. Even if it's, for 15 months, it'll really screw with us. It didn't last that long. And he kept taking them off anyway. So they were never fully implemented. They just cost a bunch of people money for a little while. And then those people were like, wait a minute, they're off now? Why the fuck did I pay those things? And then everybody stopped buying shit because they were like, if I wait and see, maybe I won't have to pay them. So it slowed the economy down. So he pulled them off again. It's so dumb. She knows it. So do the rest of them, except the dude in the middle, whatever the fuck his name is. He has no idea. And it wouldn't be hard. Well, it might be a challenge in that building to find somebody who believes they know something about FinSec and will read a fucking newspaper once in a while, who's still willing to sit in the middle on a show like this and blow smoke up Trump's ass. It can't be hard to find. It's Fox, for fuck's sake. But they all know it. They know specifically why this won't work and why the EU isn't complying, because there is no deal from last year. All of it's gone. All of it evaporated. Whatever deal they made is moot. You got to start from fucking scratch. It doesn't matter anymore. So because his own SCOTUS ruled, if he's going to use carrot and stick, that have ruled the stick illegal, and he doesn't even have a goddamn carrot. He's got a teeny little mushroom and tiny little hands. All right. The one last thing in this, I gotta hold on. Unexpected. Yeah, I think this is it. There's just so much stupid. It's painful. Yeah, here it is. Jordan Ching. Okay, that wasn't the one. I'll have to find it later. We'll talk about it on the radio show maybe tomorrow. But the real issue that they have is that there is no there in any of this shit. It just isn't. Like, he's got no leverage with Iran. They're entrenched. This is a religious movement to them, not a financial one. And he doesn't understand anything that isn't transactional. And their belief system, oh, here it is. Yeah. Let me show you what really happened, if this is the right one. Yeah. So there's no end to the ceasefire. We're all right. It's basically nothing happened. They trifled with us. It lasted 10 minutes. They were fired on once and it was over. This is the story that he told. This is Fox, regular Fox, talking about what actually happened.
Jennifer Griffin, she's reporting live out of Washington with the news for us. Jen?
Hi, Sam.
Please take this over. Now, look at her face. Not this lady, the other lady. Look how kind of miserable she looks.
Well, Fox News has learned that the 3 U.S. warships targeted by Iran Thursday faced nonstop incoming fire from Iranian drones and missiles.
Sorry, that's a trifle. That's the trifle. They were trifling with us. What was that again? Tell us again.
Hi, Sandra. Well, Fox News has learned that the 3 U.S. warships targeted by Iran Thursday faced nonstop incoming fire from Iranian drones and missiles.
Yeah, that sounds like a trifle. Nonstop.
As they traversed 500 miles.
Nonstop for 500 miles. You'll notice also that when Trump says trifle, it's easy for him to say that because he's not, and nor will he ever be, on any of those ships.
Through the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. That fact has not previously been reported.
Why is that? Why was that fact, which it is, not previously reported? Because there's been some reporting out of the White House, which is it was a trifle and nothing.
We also now know that it was one F-18 Super Hornet that struck the 2 empty oil tankers.
Oh, yeah, by the way, our ships were fired on for 500 miles, and we used an F-18 to bomb 2 civilian tankers and destroy their engines because they tried to break through the blockade, whatever, instead of bringing our ships up and firing on them directly because we didn't want to get them within range of the shit that was already firing on them elsewhere.
Trying to break the blockade earlier today, CENTCOM
They wouldn't even dare. Oh, they did dare.
released this video of the MT Sea Star 3 and MT Sevda being struck and now on fire in the Gulf of Oman. They were hit before they could reach Iranian ports. On Thursday, 3 American guided missile destroyers, the USS Truxtun, USS Rafael Peralta, and USS Mason, were transiting south into the Gulf of Oman when they
Okay, they're coming from the Persian Gulf into the Gulf of Oman through the Strait of Hormuz.
came under attack. The attack from Iran lasted longer than we first knew.
Why? Who? Did Hegseth call you and say, sorry, I made a mistake? I said 10 minutes. I meant 10 hours. That was my fault. There was a decimal point out of the way. Did he call you and say that? No, he fucking did not. Fox called their people in the Pentagon who've been there for a long time and got real information.
In response, the U.S. struck a port on Iran's Keshem Island,
Which they called a trifle as well, I'm sure.
and military targets in Bandar Abbas, another port city crucial to Iran's oil export economy.
Sites U.S. struck. Vessels Iran targeted. The USS Truxtun, the USS Mason, the USS Rafael Peralta. So let's be abundantly clear. Iran fired on 3 American warships and the UAE. We fired back at 3 spots on land on their coastline, and the ceasefire is still on.
The airstrikes targeted missile launchers as well as Iran's Bandar Kargan naval checkpoint in Manab.
Kargan, take me away.
Of course we fired back at them. They were shooting at us. That's what I would expect to do. Only stupid countries don't shoot back when you're shot at. And we're
What a dickhead. Nobody's saying you don't shoot. That's not the point. You just don't go, ceasefire's still on. No touchies, no quitsies. Double stamp a triple stamp. You can't double stamp a triple stamp, Lloyd. You can't double stamp a triple stamp.
And we're not a stupid country.
Oh my God. No, we're not. We just have stupid leadership. Just like the Iranians. Congratulations, Iran. You have a bond with the American people you never had before. The Iranian people and the American people are in the same situation. We're both run by deluded psychopath egomaniacs with shit for brains.
The strikes on Iranian territory came after the president abruptly reversed course and suspended efforts to open the Strait of Hormuz.
Because the Saudis told him to.
That he announced Sunday. The U.S. strikes came 3 days after Iran fired 15 ballistic and cruise missiles at UAE's Fujairah port on Monday, eliciting anger from Gulf countries after Secretary Hegseth and General Dan Kane told a Pentagon press briefing Tuesday that the attack did not rise to the level of breaking the ceasefire.
Yeah, by the way, the UAE was pissed that it wasn't a violation of the ceasefire to bomb one of their ports all the way across the Strait of Hormuz into another country doesn't violate the ceasefire. So what else is still on the fucking table?
Fire.
No, the ceasefire is not over. We expected there would be some churn at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what we call it, churn. Yeah, it's more like chummed. You know, the people that were working at that place that fell into the ocean. You know, this sharks, it's not that, you know, kind of part of the South African great white shark cycle. Those people are chum now.
At the beginning, which happened.
What I'll say is it's more low harassing fire right now. It's still pretty low level kinetics at this point in time.
Does anybody think he's convinced? Does anybody? Yeah, Rob says there never was a ceasefire. I agree. I think that's all for show. And I also think Dan Kane is swallowing reality right now.
This angered Gulf partners, causing them to
You don't say.
halt permission for U.S. warplanes to use Saudi and Kuwaiti airspace, forcing President Trump to get involved. The decision was later reversed.
Forcing him to get involved. We fucking started it, dummy.
After a phone call from the president.
All right, they reversed the reversal of the reverse course. Listen to this shit again.
Low-level kinetics at this point in time.
This angered Gulf partners, causing them to halt permission for U.S. warplanes to use Saudi and Kuwaiti airspace, forcing President Trump to get involved. The decision was later reversed after a phone call from the president. Sandra?
All right, Jen Griffin reporting live out of Washington on that for us. Thank you, John.
I don't know why maggots would think this is anything but absolutely full steam ahead awesome. Hashtag winning. This is exactly what we, signed up for, what you voted for. This is what you asked for, right? At least he doesn't have any red lines that can't get crossed like Obama. Oh, well. At least we're not we're not wagging the dog, trying to start a war to avoid talking about something like the Epstein file. Oh, shit. Well, at least we're the ones making the rules and telling everybody who's, well, all right, not so, all of this is it's bullshit.
This is some bullshit. We see through it. This is some bullshit.
And I'll let you guys go, and I will see you tomorrow for House Sparks radio program Mega Worldwide. Please like and subscribe. Please think about joining our Patreon, patreon.com/HouseSparks. And then, of course, if you join, you can bring a guest to any of the Nerd Halen shows. Yourself and a guest are welcome at any of the Nerd Halen shows we have coming up. We're adding one, I think, we just added one in July. And then we're in San Jose on June 13th in California. There's also, there's a couple that are coming up. It's exciting. We're starting to fill out the dates. It's nice to have a booker. If you're in the area or you're in for a drive and it's not too far away, you're welcome to bring a guest, any of my Patreon folks. And then of course, I do the stand-up show at the end of every month at Flappers. That goes to you guys. I don't put anything else behind a paywall because the whole purpose of this is that we all get to have this conversation and you guys get to hear this stuff. And thank you to the Patreon folks for making this possible. Also, the super chats and all that stuff. Bless you guys for doing that. I know some people get, especially when gas prices are high as they are, that it gets nervy for people to try and give to shows like this. And I know everybody's got their hand out. I get it. So if it bothers you at all, or it makes you nervous, or you're not comfortable at all, don't. Just don't. Don't worry about it. Don't bother. When I bring it up, just stick your fingers in your ears and go la la la. It's, I'm going to do this show anyways because I feel it needs to be done. But if somebody else does give, just say thank you to them. And then do all the free stuff. Subscribe, like, give thumbs up, share the show. Those kind of things help immensely as well. So bless you for that, and put up with the occasional commercial on YouTube or whatever. I have no idea how that shit works most of the time. That said, I will let you guys go right now. And I don't know if are we rating anybody? Are we rating Tara Busters or anybody? I don't know. I don't know if she's got her show after or not. But either way, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys soon. Hold on, I have to, let's see, I turn on the, try to make this thing happen, and then this happen. And I should have I don't know why. Hold on. I'm just going to do some housekeeping right now at the end of the show, just because I can. Let's go back to here, to the thing, and then the Friday Eye thing like that. And then we'll go to here, and then I'll take the this guy right here. Did that go in there? Okay, hold on. Whoops. That's funny. All right. Give away, you silly thing. I'm gonna go back to here and change screens, and then go to here, and then, yeah, we're good. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. As soon as I push this button, and then this button.
crooked smile. Words spill out, all venom, no style. Promises made, they rot in the air. A handshake, a lie, a blank, cold stare.
Thank you, Angular Merkin. Fox said in court their viewers are idiots to believe they're bullcrap. Agreed. It was always a scam. They should know better.
This is some bullshit. We see through it. This is some bullshit. Can't undo it. Say it loud. We won't quit. This is some bullshit. Paper thin truths that crumble like ash.
Bullshit!
Golden thrones built on stolen cash. We raise our fists.
That was just
We break the
bullshit, Joel.
mold. Your house of cards is getting old. Static hums, the wires ignite. Truth's a bomb, we're ready to fight. This is some bullshit.
You lied to me.
We see through it. This is some bullshit.
Take off, eh?
Can't undo it.
Groovy. Groovy.
Say it loud.
I'm your huckleberry.
Won't quit. This is some bullshit.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Who wants some? Who's next?
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.